Within the past 24 hours, Palestinian terrorists have fired more than 500 missiles into southern Israel, targeting areas as far away as Tel Aviv. The rocket barrages have sent more than 1 million Israelis running into bomb shelters or lying on a street or sidewalk for protection from any explosion or flying shrapnel. This IDF video shows Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile system intercepting many of the rockets fired by Islamic Jihad, and the IDF says with more than a 90% success rate. However, some rockets have landed and caused damage, like this scene in Ashkelon. More than 30 Israelis have been treated for rocket-related injuries. This video also shows how a number of Palestinian rockets have misfired and landed within Gaza, killing several Palestinians, including a 10-year-old. Since the beginning of Operation Shield and Arrow, more than 100 rocket launches have fallen inside the Gaza Strip. More than 30 Palestinians have died in the fighting, most of them Islamic Jihad terrorists. While Israel has been accused of indiscriminately targeting civilians, this video shows an airstrike being aborted after identifying children nearby.
We're not looking for war. We're focused on our targets, and we'll do everything we need to protect our civilians.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned it may be a long campaign.
My instruction is that we're ready for the possibility of an expanded campaign and harsh strikes taking place now and in the future. Overall, I think we have the upper hand, but it's clear you're on the line, and I appreciate your support and resilience.
U.S. Ambassador to Israel Tom Nides tweeted, "The U.S. is concerned about the continuing rocket launches today. We stand by Israel's right to defend itself, working towards a de-escalation." Wendy?
Chris, what's the likelihood of a ceasefire?
Well, if you look at it historically, Wendy, it's usually these kind of things last maybe 5 days, 10 days, and then there'll be a ceasefire. Right now, Egypt is trying to mediate that ceasefire, but there's a number of factors that may complicate things, and perhaps the biggest one is whether or not Hamas, which is the largest terror group inside Gaza, gets involved. Now, if they do, that could escalate the situation dramatically. Also, Islamic Jihad does have some demands that they're making on Israel. Whether or not they're going to be met by Israel remains to be seen, or whether or not Israel will really even take those demands seriously. But right now, it seems like there's going to be this give and take between both Islamic Jihad and Israel. Israel's trying to do what it can to suppress this rocket fire, and it's also the reason why many of these targeted strikes have hit rocket launchers and many of the Islamic leaders.
Chris, do we know how many Islamic Jihad leaders have been killed, and how did this most recent round of fighting begin?
Well, right now, Wendy, we know that at least 4 of the major leaders of Islamic Jihad have been killed. The latest one, the last one, was the commander of the rocket launchers inside the Gaza Strip. It all started about a little over a week ago when an Islamic leader here in Israel, he died after a hunger strike, even though he refused medical help. And then Islamic Jihad fired more than 100 rockets into Israel. When that happened, Israel made a strategic decision. They waited several days, but then they targeted 3 of the top leaders in Gaza, literally at the same time during the night. And that led to the recent fighting right now. So that's when Islamic Jihad began firing now more than 500 rockets into Israel, and then Israel's been trying to do what it can to target many of those rocket launches and many of those leaders.
Chris, how much is Iran involved in groups like Palestinian Islamic Jihad?
Well, when you look at the bigger picture, Wendy, Iran is the major player behind all of this. Palestinian Islamic Jihad is a direct proxy of Iran. They provide the funding, they provide the training. And Islamic Jihad, as well as Hamas and Hezbollah, is also part of Iran's overall goal to destroy Israel. And what they're trying to do, they have a strategy to eliminate and destroy Israel. That's what they say very clearly. And they want to surround Israel with these proxy groups. That would be Hezbollah in South Lebanon and Lebanon itself. It would be Syrian militias inside Syria. It would be Hamas, Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip. And all the way down to Yemen, it would include the Houthis. And its major goal is to get a nuclear weapon so they can destroy Israel. So this Islamic Jihad is all part of Iran's major goal, and you have to look at the bigger picture and realize that what's happening right now is just part of an overall goal and strategy by Iran to destroy the Jewish people and the Jewish state.
Wow. Chris, what's it like for many of the Israelis in the rocket range? I can only imagine. And do you guys feel safe there in Jerusalem?
Well, we feel fairly safe here in Jerusalem. They haven't fired rockets this far yet. They have gone almost as far as Tel Aviv, but it's terrifying. We've been in some of these, rocket launches in under rocket range. You don't know where they're going to hit. You have about 15 seconds when you're very close to the border to get a bomb shelter. You saw some of the video in our report. People scurrying to get to a bomb shelter. And so it's very terrifying. And let me just answer the question. What's the difference between those inside Gaza and inside Israel? Well, Islamic Jihad is firing indiscriminately into Israel to target civilians, while Israel is hitting specific terrorist targets. They're trying to eliminate or minimize any civilian casualties. And Wendy, I'll just add this. Right now, you know that there's millions of Christians around the world for 21 days from May 7th to May 28th, fasting and praying for Israel. It's such a time to be praying for the protection of Israel and the protection of all the peoples here in the region. But this Isaiah 62 fast is really a timely moment when Christians around the world can be standing in the gap for the Jewish people.
Absolutely. Chris Mitchell, our Middle East Bureau Chief, reporting from Jerusalem. Our prayers are with you and the team there and with all of Israel. God bless you.